Okay, so gonna give an overview of how our tracking works. Uh, it's a little bit complex because Whitehall is not only an e-commerce site, so we want to track all of the value data. Also, obviously, Google every year makes it, or every couple of months, makes it harder to actually track data. And thirdly, Whitehall is actually, interestingly, a single page application. So although it makes it look like it's loading different pages, it's actually not. They're all the same page. It's all loaded at once when you load the Whitehall site. So this made a really fun little challenge. And yes, so trying to track accurate conversions, especially because we do search advertising and we spend 1,500 that a month, and then also getting the e-commerce data. So how we did that is obviously through the basic Google Analytics tags and Google Ads tags. This is our conversion tag and the conversion linker. We have a LinkedIn Insight tag, which is useful for, we don't actually use that actually, but it will be useful when we actually start tracking conversions. I'm not sure if they use it or not. We have our e-commerce events tag. So this is obviously what sends the e-commerce data. All of the settings have been set up perfectly to do this. So again, it's not something I would fiddle around with. Well, actually, you know what you're doing, likely. So feel free to. But because of the way Whitehall was set up, everything does need to be fired in specific orders. And they've been set up in specific ways for a reason. So just bear that in mind. And there's also an additional DOM-ready analytics event because of something that we track called, this is specifically just for one aspect that we track called user ID, but I'll go through that, what that is in a second. Because what I'm going to go through is how you debug Whitehall training. You probably already know how to debug potentially if you've used this before, but it's staging.whitehall and it's not with a www. It is with a HTTP there. Not www, otherwise you won't connect to the right place. You can connect and then you'll start debugging Whitehall. So let me show you how it's set up. What happens is they come to the site, immediately the consent is set to denied. This is due to, so I'll go run you through what this is first. There's three main things that we've implemented to do what I've just said, what we want to do. One is something called user ID, which helps track where people have come from and track their channel source and make it so that we track one person through the website without actually knowing who they are, so it's compliant. We've also done e-commerce value tracking, which is another thing that I'll show. And in order to make it so that we can track all the conversion tracking and all of this data compliantly, we've done something called advanced consent mode, V2, I believe. I will put links to some information on all of them in the comments. But advanced consent mode V2, essentially what it does is it sets people's consent to denied when they join the site. So it's their default to denied. And so what this is doing is it means that it sends, even though they've denied, it means that because they've done this default state thing, they're going to send anonymous data to Google, which allows them to track their conversions and their path through a website anonymously. There's also some code at the top of the screen I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find it quick enough for this video, but there's URL pass-through code as well. You should check the GitHub history to see exactly what's been done. I've just quickly made a purchase to show you the other stuff. So yeah, you'll see URL pass-through true. That's from the code at the top of the screen. Behind the scenes, which makes it so the gclid can be passed through the URL even though they leave the website. All of the event tracking data is in here. You've got to go through Vlad to make changes by that, or whoever's developing the Whitehall website. You've got to ask for changes that way. And the user ID here as well. And this is all tracked through the Google tags. You'll see in the event variable that this is all passed through to Google Analytics so it can track all of this data, and that's how it's sent to Google Ads.